This is a canning campsite. I arrived here yesterday afternoon. Sabrina was here. Robin and Ian had decided apparently to go on to Monodox. So it was just Sabrina and I last night. Sabrina slept in there. We had a nice fire going last night, which is obviously out this morning. And because I'm a noisy sleeper and probably somebody very annoying to have in the shelter with, I decided to pitch my tent in the camping ground over here. As you can see, we're buried deep in the bush. There's no phone reception whatsoever. It's cloudy and overcast today. There's the loo up there. First toilet on the entire trek with no toilet paper in it. It's overcast today. I'm going to have to walk with the rain jacket on again. I'm going to have to walk with the rain cover on Bella again to keep her dry. It's a 16k walk today, which is a good 4k longer than I've done yet. So I'm not really looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see how I scrub up after the end of it and how I go. Plenty of rest breaks. Of course, my Bella is considerably lighter now than she was when we started. I've got rid of a load of stuff to Jill. I have 1 day's rations meals left. So it's pretty much as light as it's ever going to be. So I'm going to have to cope. So my next job is to try and get the tent dry and packed up as much as I can prior to leaving, because I hate to set it up the next night like I had to last night with it still being wet from the previous day. Just doing the paperwork for canning camp. I really should do it when I arrive, because one day I'm going to forget to do it, but usually I end up doing it just before I leave. Sabrina's in there. She's a baker from Dunsborough. She's 33. She comes from Germany. Crystal, the trail runner I met at Brookton yesterday. Has anybody found my sunnies? She's lost them. No, didn't see them. Chuck Chasey, that's Lorraine, and Russian, that's Julia. Abby going the other way, that's the English chick I met who'd lost her raincoat. These boxes are interesting, there's all sorts of stuff in there. Book on birds. Some tow rag leaves an empty cylinder because he's too lazy to carry it. A candle. You want to get romantic, and not sunnies, a pair of glasses in case you want to read the bird book. Alright, paperwork done, time to pack up and get moving. It's 10 o'clock and I'm ready at last. It's become my traditional time for leaving around about 10 o'clock. Just sent the signal to say that I'm off to the Spies in the Skies. What a difference an hour makes. When Sabrina left, it was drizzling and she went off in full wet gear. It's now bright blue sunshine, and I've just seen Rebecca, a day walker. She's walked in from Brookton. She's going to overnight at Monodox with us, and she assures me that the rain is gone for the day. Now I assume that she's got an up-to-date weather forecast, so I'm going to go without wet weather gear and risk it. Bella, sitting there patiently waiting for me to pick her up, is dressed in wet weather gear, because although I don't mind getting wet, I don't want her getting wet. So we're off, 16 k's. It's going to be the hardest walk yet, but with the largest bag. Let's see how we go. Been a busy day. 20 minutes before I left, day walker Rebecca turns up, tells me all about the weather. Just as I was putting my backpack on to leave, Des turns up. He's doing an end-to-end, and he's only 4 days out. He's double hutted everything since Kalamunda, so obviously doing it in half the time I am. I did ask him about his pack. He's carrying 15 Ks, so I started out with 26. I'll take that as an excuse. He's having a quick break at Canning, and then he's going to come down and join, presumably, Sabrina, myself and Rebecca down at Monadocks tonight. I'm getting a little worried. The blue skies are clouding over fast. The wind is rising and the temperature is dropping. I really don't want to get caught out in a downpour without a rain jacket on. Well, it's a good half an hour later. No sign of any rain, and despite some distant thunder, the direction that the weather is coming in from is blue. So I'm not so worried anymore. I'm nearly 5 k's in, so nearly a third of the journey. Currently passing through some Jarrah forest, heading downhill towards the Canning River. Should get there in about half an hour. I'm still descending downhill through the Jarrah forest towards Canning River, but I just took the opportunity of a convenient log to stop and take the weight off of my back for a minute or two, and while I did it, had occasion to look at the map rather than the booklet. I don't often do that, there's no point. But then I realised that I just crossed a bit of a milestone. Within the last 500 metres or so, I have just completed the first side of the first map. All done. You have to do at least one, don't you? And then just around the corner we have the River Canning with its new bridge. Canning Bridge. I can tell you I've been crossing Canning Bridge for the last 20 years. This one looks a whole lot nicer. Except for the rubbish that I'm more on the dump here. I've just crossed the river. I've done 8 k's, I've got 8 to go. The trouble with getting to a river is that everything afterwards is uphill. For the first time in 8 days, I'm actually going to stop mid-track and have a proper lunch. Usually I have my lunch when I get to the campsite around about 2 o'clock, but I'm not going to get to the campsite much before 3, possibly even 4. So I'm going to stop, half an hour break, have a decent lunch, and then carry on up that hill. This looks like a bit damp. I don't know. Oh, there's a path over to the side there. Glad I don't have to go wading through that lot. I've got a problem. I think I'm developing what's known as a hot spot on my right foot. It's where you start to feel the beginnings of a blister forming, despite my comfy boots and 2 pairs of socks. Now, protocol would dictate that I stop here and now and treat it, but that would mean taking off Bella, and there's literally nowhere for me to do that. Taking off my shoes, gaiters, 2 pairs of socks, unloading Bella, finding the medical kit, unwrapping the medical kit, finding the fix-em-all, sticking some fix-em-all on my foot, and then doing everything backwards in reverse. That said, I'm pretty sure that I'm within 1 kilometre of the next shelter. So, it may be a stupid decision, but for now, I'm going to continue on and hope that it's okay. I was right. Put less than a K away. Would have taken me longer to treat my foot than it would have done to walk here. This is Monodox. Leastways, that's why I'm pronouncing it. It's got a funny A in the middle of it somewhere that makes it sound rather strange, but Monodox rolls off the tongue better. As far as I know, there's going to be at least 4 of us here tonight. Des, Rebecca, me, and Sabrina. Right, I'm here at Monodocs. That's my tent set up for the night. Rebecca's over there in the other tent. Sabrina and Des are camping down in the shelter over there. Looking like it's going to be a wet night. It's awfully grey. Thankfully it didn't rain on me on the way here. Looking forward to seeing the family tomorrow. Meeting arranged for probably somewhere between 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock by the time I get up there. I've got two enormous mountains to climb before I get there. No phone reception here, unfortunately. Would make life a lot easier because I need to message Jill to bring some extra stuff with her.
You've always been a day ahead of me, then I thought I could catch them, but you know, I'm kind of waiting around. And I know that they stayed here last night. I saw them yesterday during their lunch break. I'm surprised that most of the people I met just doing it solo. No one's.
To be honest, I prefer walking on my own. I just find that.
Monodocs done, or Monadnox, I don't know. Funny place to put a name. It's a beautiful sight. It looks out over a valley, a wooded valley, from a balcony. There's a fire pit down there. Campsites are at the back. Glorious morning, skies are blue. I'm told there's little chance of rain, so I'm setting off without a raincoat on. It's Saturday. I'm due to meet the family at Sullivan's Rock at 11 o'clock. I figured to myself 3 hours to get there, so I should have left at 8. That was a quarter of an hour ago, but I should still be alright. Bella is fully packed. She sat there waiting for me. It's the lightest it's ever going to be, so I'm going to have to enjoy the day while I have it. When I resupply, I'll end up with 6 days more food on there. There's as little in there as will ever be, and just to amuse everybody, for the first time officially, there is nothing in my brain. Sullivan's Rock is halfway between here and Mount Cook, and between there, I don't know if you can see it in this distance there, I have to climb that and another bigger mountain. So it's going to be a long haul to get to Sullivan's, and I should be very relieved to get there. Just got startled by some movement in the bush there. There's a kangaroo. I don't know whether we're going to catch it or not. I can't even see him anymore. Where are you, Skip? I can hear him. He's bouncing all around me. Nah, he's made a fool of me. I can hear him. He skipped off down the hill. I'm halfway up Mount Cuthbert. It's a struggle, but even halfway up, the views are pretty spectacular. This is a bit different. I'm approaching the top of Mount Cuthbert, and the path suddenly runs out. No woggles, nothing. So a quick reference to my guidebook, and for a change we're following these little stone cairns all over the top of the mountain. That's it. Highest one. I did it. I conquered Mount Cuthbert for mankind. And I did it just because it was there. That is pretty spectacular. It's pity it's misty. Having done Cuthbert, we have to go down a little bit and then climb higher still and conquer Mount Vincent. My old geography teacher was called Vincent. He would have loved this. He was a prick though. Okay, I've started the descent and somehow I've got to get all the way down there. It looked bloody dangerous, which is why they're very adamant that you have to go across the top of it. Still doesn't look that safe. Having done that, I've got to climb that. Okay, I'm between the two mountains, Mount Cuthbert and Mount Vincent. Back to walking level for a change. Had a near miss on the way down the mountain. Hill, whatever. Took a wrong turn. Went about 50 meters down the wrong path before I heard voices behind me. It was looking a bit dodgy anyway, so I was a bit suspicious. Turned around and a couple of day walkers passed behind me at right angles to the path I was on. So it became obvious that I was in the wrong. Turned around, took a 90-degree left and back on track. Since then I've seen at least half a dozen other walkers with day packs on. It's obviously a popular day walk between the two mounts from Sullivan's Rock. And then of course it occurred to me that it's Saturday, so they're all off doing their weekend bush hike. Approaching the top of Vincent. I knew it was steeper than Cuthbert, but this is ridiculous. I've never been more grateful for sturdy boots than I am today. I would have twisted my ankle numerous times but for that. Through the trees we can see Cuthbert. I just mounted that one. You can see the stone slab I had to go around. Oh, on and up. Done it. First I mounted Cuthbert, now I've mounted Vincent. Busy day in the mounting department. Here's the view out to the west. And if we go around here a little bit, down towards the south, we can see the mist coming up the valleys. Okay, now we're descending Mount Vincent. I can hear the Albany Highway off to my right, buried somewhere in those trees. Got to get down the side of this mountain, through the bush, and meeting the family in about 2 kilometers time. I've just had a message, they're on their way. Right, finally back down off the mountain, back into the bush, level flat ground. Within a kilometre of Sullivan's Rocks now. Should be an easy walk from here. This is the turn off for Sullivan's. Bibbulmun track goes on down there, as we can see, and Sullivan's goes this way. Guidebook says it's signposted, but it's not. But for the fact that I've been here a month ago scouting the place out as a possible meeting site, I wouldn't have known to go straight on. I did warn Sabrina that that was the case. I trust that she, or her app, told her to come straight on, otherwise she'll miss her meeting. Right, car park, 700 metres away. The clan duly gathered and we all enjoyed a delicious lunch in the picnic area. I had been on the track for 10 days and it was fantastic to see them all together. I always knew that this walk would teach me something of myself, and today's priceless lesson was evident, a valuable reminder of the importance of family. Centre of everyone's attention, and rightly so, was of course Bella, the real one. Well, that was nice. Just come away from the meeting with the family. Saw Jill, Robin and Reese, Lee, Zoe, and of course beautiful Bella. Sat down, had a picnic lunch, properly made Cornish pasty, some juice, some cookies, and a good chat, and a good, I don't know, hour and a half rest break. I've changed all my clothes. The only thing I haven't had, obviously, is a shower, and I feel great. The only thing that's wrong is my bag is now full of the next 6 days worth of food and back to being very heavy. I've got another 4k's odd to the campsite, so I just have to knuckle down and get it done. I know we can get it started. It's been a fairly heavy slog since Sullivan's with the extra heavy bag, and then just to make matters a little worse, when you approach the next campsite at Mount Cook, these buildings come into view and you think, hooray, I'm there. And then you remember that Mount Cook has 2 campsites, one for groups and one for individuals, which means that instead of being there, you've got to go another 500 meters uphill. Well, that was the longest 500 meters I've done all day. I finally got to Mount Cook campsite, and paradoxically, despite the fact that I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tents set up, there appears to be nobody here. A couple of day walkers were over there having a picnic, but they've now left. I don't quite know what to do. If I'm the only one in the shelter, then so be it. I'll be the only one in the shelter. But if there's going to be anybody else in there, I'm going to have to set up a tent somewhere. It's 3:30, so it's a little bit early to decide that. We'll have to leave it for an hour or so. I spent the rest of the afternoon exploring the camp, most notably a second camp further up the path, an old one that was destroyed by a bushfire back in 2003. All that's left are some charred remains and a burnt out water tank. Turns out all the tents belong to an organised group. Mothers and their children had gone for an organised walk to Mount Cook that day. They all returned about tea time, and there were 13 of us in that camp overnight. Join me again for part 5 as I climb to the highest point in the Darling Range, Mount Cook, then descend to what I am led to believe is the most dangerous point on the track.